Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this series on Great Lakes players that made it to the majors. And today we have Adam Russell, who played for the Southern Ohio Copperheads and then played in the majors for the White Sox, the Padres, and the Rays. So, Adam, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Justin. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So a little about Adam before I ask him some questions. He played from 2008 to 2011, had an 8-3 record with a 3.95 ERA in 85 games, and had 67 strikeouts. So Adam, first of all, could you just sort of give us some background information about you, maybe where you grew up, played high school and college, your path to the majors, and maybe a little about your personal life, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, born and raised. Kind of made my way up. I was always really passionate about baseball, and it kind of led me to a place where I was able to play in high school. And I played at St. Ed's for 2 years, and then I transferred schools to North Olmsted, Ohio, where my career kind of really took off. It was a much better fit for me, and ended up getting drafted out of high school by the 26th round by the Marlins. Made a decision not to take it mentally, physically, emotionally. I just wasn't ready. One of the best decisions I ever made in my life. I probably be out of professional baseball in 1 or 2 years if I had taken that offer. So I did take a scholarship to Ohio University. I played baseball there for 3 years and studied finance at that time. The White Sox drafted me in the 6th round of the 2004 draft, and at that point I did take it, and I started my professional career that lasted 11 years at that point. A little personal about me. I'm still I live in Chicago now. I work in the insurance industry, mostly doing employee benefits consulting. A lot of what I've learned through baseball has translated to this career, which has been fantastic, and really enjoy it. But I spent a lot of time back in Cleveland. Still have a home there. If you're from Cleveland, you kind of grow roots there. So I definitely go back there a lot to see my family. I have a dog named Bowser. He's 5. He's awesome. That's pretty much it as far as the personal, but still very much involved with baseball. I do a lot for baseball charities. I do a lot of things for the White Sox as far as the ambassador programs and stuff now that I'm here in Chicago, and they asked me to do appearances for them and go speak at underprivileged inner city youth, a lot of elementary schools, just about my path to the big leagues and what I've learned in mental toughness and hard work, dedication, those types of things.
Awesome. Could you describe what's your fondest memory in your baseball career?
Fondest memory, I would have to say, was my first game I actually made it out on the field. I think it took me like 10 games to actually get in my first game because every game was close and they weren't going to throw, a newbie out there when we had such a veteran bullpen. I think I was the only guy in that bullpen that wasn't under contract. So we finally found a game where it was a good position for me to go in. I think we're up like 10 runs against the Pittsburgh Pirates. So I remember Ozzie called down and let me know I had the 9th. And, I immediately just started kind of completely forgetting my routine because it was just like, holy crap, this is happening. So I started running around and the guys kind of had to reel me back in, and they're like, hey, remember what you do normally. I'm like, okay, I'm starting an inning before I actually should here. So kind of just gathered myself, got myself ready, and, the gates open. I ran onto the field, and then I remember nothing. And all of a sudden I woke back up on the mound. I'm like, I don't know how I got here, but thank God I didn't trip. So I had a great inning. It went 1-2-3, ended on a strikeout of Jose Batista. Crowd went crazy. team gave me a beer shower afterwards. It was just a fantastic moment. It was like the culmination of all my efforts, all my hard work and dedication over the years. It just summed up into one day, and I'm like, all right, I belong here. I can do this pretty well, and hopefully have a career that lasts a little longer than most people. So I felt very fortunate that I was there in the first place. But yeah, that was a great moment for me.
Yeah, not many can get there, but when you do, it's definitely memorable. What would you say is your fondest memory when you played in the Great Lakes League with the Copperheads?
I remember we were all staying in a sorority, and it was a great time. It was a really good group of guys, and that's one thing I always get the question, what do you miss most about baseball? Like, do you miss it? And I'm like, you know what? I miss competing, and I miss spending time with the guys in the locker room. I don't miss being sore. I don't miss the pressure all the time. I don't miss, death threats on Twitter. I don't miss the media blasting me all over the newspapers. But those things I really, really do miss. And I think that my time with the Copperheads really gave me a glimpse as what it is to really bond with the team and that is from different areas. I mean, coming from Ohio University, I spent all my time with those guys, and it was for many years. So coming from different areas like that, it was a good experience. And I remember just having a blast in that sorority with those guys, and just playing some good baseball too.
Mm-hmm. What part of playing in the Great Lakes League and with the Copperheads would you say was most beneficial in helping you get to the majors?
It was a good transition because I remember the Copperheads were really trying to run their operations like a minor league operation. So the in between games and the different announcing and the fan interaction, I think gave me a good stepping stone into my minor league career, which I think was a really good transition at that point.
Okay. Do you have any funny stories from your time in the Great Lakes League?
Man, you're making me go back many years here. I remember I had probably one of the worst balks in the history of balks. I think it ruined a game. I think there's some moments where you just kind of spaz out on the mound. And luckily I didn't have this in my major league career, but I remember the bases were loaded, but somehow I forgot that. And I tried to do a pickoff to first base when my first baseman was playing back. So I ended up just holding onto the ball, and the run scored, and it was super embarrassing. I was just, sometimes those things happen, and you just got to shake it off and go to the next one. But that sucked. That really sucked.
From a player's perspective, what are some of the ways that you'd say professional baseball differs from college or summer baseball?
I mean, once you start earning a paycheck, it turns into a job, and you're just so highly looked after, and you really have to perform. I mean, you have a bad month, you could be out of baseball. There's such strong competition, and it's a matter of where you come from too. Like, I'm from Cleveland. Baseball stops in the fall, but I'm playing against guys from the Dominican Republic and Florida and Texas and California that can play year round. So they got a leg up on me, but it was difficult. It certainly was difficult.
Yeah. A big part of this series is just sort of to provide motivation for current players that didn't have their seasons this summer. So what advice would you have for current collegiate players, and then any additional advice that, because of the circumstances they're facing now, that you might add to that?
Yeah, I think the trend for baseball is analytics and, a lot of videoing and observing that way. I think that is such an amazing thing for baseball, as far as being able to observe the game, really watch the game, talk with your teammates on what you would do in certain situations. If you're not involved in the play or not involved in the game, still talk about it. Like, oh, how would you pitch this guy? I noticed this guy goes to right field a lot. I wonder if they're going to put a shift on over there. Your baseball IQ needs to go up constantly. You need to keep involving yourself as a player. I think observing baseball, talking about it, trying to predict what's going to happen is really going to set yourself apart. And I learned that coming up through the minors. And, we didn't have the analytics. So it was blown away by what I saw when I got to the major leagues. And they had teams of guys helping you out this. But, you really got to police yourself when you're in college, you're in the minor leagues, that you need to do this work on your own. You need to make these changes and make these observations on your own. And I think talking about it with your teammates, really going to elevate your game. That's the one thing. If I had to put one thing that I learned, would be observing and talking and trying to predict what's going to happen or how you can be best in that situation.
And is there anything additional that you'd say to players that don't have their season now?
Yeah, I feel terrible that this was taken away from you guys. I know it's a crazy time for everybody. I really feel for you. Hopefully something presents itself as far as baseball is concerned for you guys, because I know a lot of people use the summer leagues as a stepping stone, is to really elevate their career and get themselves noticed by professional scouts. So I feel for you guys and try to stay mentally strong. There's going to be coming times a lot during your career where things don't work out for you. There's two things you can control: your attitude and your work ethic. Everything else is out of your control. Try to maintain those things, and I promise you'll be successful.
All right, well, those are very encouraging words, Adam. Thank you for your time and giving back to the league that helped bring you up to where you were. And thanks for joining us.
No, thanks for having me, Justin. Best of luck to everybody.
All right, thank you.